Yes, good morning. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Today is match day. It's been 92 long days since we beat Sheffield United on the last day of last season. And now we follow that up 92 days later, 3 months later, away at Leicester City at the King Power Stadium in a game where I'm not expecting too much difficulty, if I'm going to be brutally honest. This is one of the games where I do think Spurs have far too much quality for the opposition. But today I wanted to look at two things. First of all, I wanted to look at, there's been a lot of reports this week. And again, I'm not sure how strong they are. I'm not sure how good they are. But a couple of names keep coming up. One is Locatelli of Juventus. And another one is Yao Gomez of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, again, in this crazy world of transfers, you never know, do you? I mean, we've seen Odegaard where nothing was said by anybody. And then, bang, Tottenham signed him. Ollie Skip, suddenly, bang, it was done. Other times you see a number of reports for months and months and months and nothing materialises. These two names, they've been talked about in the last week. Various different reports. Lots of people saying, oh, I know someone who said Locatelli is signing and Juventus want to sell. They need money. They're bringing in coop miners. Apparently, Wolverhampton Wanderers are open to the idea of selling Yao Gomez. I don't know. I'm just a guy like you lot. I'm just a guy talking about these things. But for me, if you bring in either Locatelli or Gomez, my personal opinion is I feel happier about our midfield. Now, listen, I'd love both. In an ideal world, I'd want both. I don't really rate a lot of our midfielders, many of you know. I think, as many of you have seen me call over and over again, sometimes players. We have sometimes players. I think, again, like Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Lo Celso, all of these players for me are capable of good things, but never deliver it week in, week out. And I think all the while you've got that in your engine room, in your midfield, the most important place in your team, I think you're going to be found out. So for me, I'm going to have a little look, just a little look at both Locatelli and Gomez. We'll have a look, see what people think. Locatelli, very much more of a natural defensive midfielder, more aligned, if you will, with the defensive, the deep-lying playmaker. Yao Gomez, for me, is a little bit more of a box-to-box, but makes a lot of tackles. And we'll look at both their heat maps for last season and see where they spent most of their game. Yao Gomez got a lot more energy in the engine, a lot more pace. Locatelli, not as quick, but again, more experienced. So we'll have a look at those. And I don't know whether Spurs are interested in both of them. We'll also have a look at something that Dan Kilpatrick said today, which truly worried me. We've gone from something that excites me, either Locatelli or Gomez. I'd really like both of those or one of those. And you can clip this just to show that I don't hate every player we're linked with. I just don't like it when we're constantly linked with kids. Both of those I would like. A worrying comment I've seen from Dan Kilpatrick. No offense to him. He's just reporting, but we'll have a look at that. And then I want to pick the 11 for today. I think it's fairly straightforward. I've actually seen a couple of people put, high-profile people, I suppose, within the Spurs media world, put, oh, it's a tough decision for Ange now. He's got a lot of options. I actually think it's completely the opposite. I think we've signed so many kids that we haven't actually strengthened the 11, and it's a no-brainer for me. It just looks like a no-brainer. Maybe one position is up for grabs. We'll have a look at that. Let's start. I want to start by having a look at Yao Gomez. I'm not going to go deep into this, but Yao Gomez, a player that a lot of people said last year really impressed them, playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, he played brilliantly when it came to Tottenham Hotspur. So I just wanted to have a little look at him. 23 years of age. So again, not 18, he's got plenty of game time now in his career, playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And before Wolverhampton Wanderers, he was playing for Flamengo. And for me, you can see down here, if we have a look, that he played for Flamengo, then made the 18 million move in the January of 2023 to Wolves. So he's played there for 18 months. So we're going to have a little look at him. We can see that he's played in the Premier League. He's FA Cup, Copa America, International. He's broken into the Brazil squad. And I just wanted to have a little look and see what you make of him. So you can see here, over here, you can see that his strengths are, and again, it's all subjective, but according to SofaScore, strengths will be his tackling, his positioning, and his high pressing. His weaknesses are his discipline. Now, again, I'd have to watch a lot more of him before I can turn around and say that his weakness is his discipline. But again, that would be a slight blotch, wouldn't it? That can you afford to have a player who does have a discipline issue? I don't know. What do they mean by discipline? Are we talking about yellow and red cards? Are we talking about his ability to just stay in one area of the pitch and control that area and to be that reliable midfield conduit? I don't know. We'd have to watch a lot more. But what we can see here, if we actually look at Yao Gomez, this is for, let's look at the 23-24 season. We can see his heat map there. He's more of a marauding midfielder than a deep DM. You can see over here, they said that he's a centre midfielder or a defensive midfielder. But then when we look at his heat map for the entire season, there's nothing there that suggests that he's primarily a defensive midfielder, right? Because his heat map will show that he's got a little bit everywhere. There's no real area on the pitch where he stands out. And we'll compare this in a second to that of a Locatelli. But you can see here, matches played 34. He started 32 of them. Averaged 78 minutes per game. Goals, 2. I believe both of them were against Spurs, weren't they? Someone might tell me if I'm wrong. Look, I'm not too bothered about this area here. If we can see here, I'm not too bothered about the scoring and the attacking stats. We've got players for that. What I want to look at is here. I want to look at the passing. If we look at the passing, so he's got 1 assist in the season. Again, I'm not too concerned if my deep-lying playmaker midfielder type player has too many assists. The expected assists was what? Just over 1. Just under 2 touches. Big chances created. I mean, make of these stats what you will. And here, this is what I want to look at. Key passes. Accurate per game, 83%. Accurate in his own half, 88%. Easier to be accurate in your own half, isn't it? Not as much pressure. 78% in the opposition half. Doesn't try too many long balls, which I actually quite like in a midfielder like that. Then we look at his defending. His interceptions per game, less than 1. Tackles per game, just bordering on 4. Possession 1, just once average per game. Balls recovered per game is slightly better. If we look at just under or just over 5.5 there. Dribble pass per game, just under 2 times. Clearances per game, 0.9. Error that led to a shot is 2. Error that led to a goal, 0. And he gave away 2 penalties. Then there's a lot of things here. Look, possession lost, 9.9. Aerial duels, 1. Ground duels, 1. Make of this what you will. And then we look down there at his yellow cards, 11. Just a short biopsy here, you know, in terms of the player. He joined Wolverhampton Wanderers in, he joined Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2023. Prefers to play with his right foot. I mean, I don't know how interesting people want to find all of that stuff. But let me know what your thoughts are on Yao Gomez. I like him as a footballer. For me, I would love to see him playing with a DM, if I'm brutally honest. I think that would be really strong. But again, I don't know. I don't know if Spurs would ever have that ambition, if we've got that will, or if Ange even wants it. And let's be fair, a lot of this is going to be, does Ange want it? Then we move to Manuel Locatelli. Now, this is a footballer that I really like. And you'll get all of the usual thrown at you. He can't handle the Premiership. He's not quick enough for the Premiership. You hear it all the time. Top players can play anywhere. Being able to run quick isn't the be-all and end-all, and especially when you are a deep-lying playmaker stroke defensive midfielder. Now, again, that's all based on the manager's tactics. If he's got everyone on the halfway line, you've got to be able to be really quick getting back. But the whole point, right, of a number 6, of a defensive midfielder, if you will, a deep-line playmaker, is that they're actually sat in there to prevent the quick attacks from their defensive standpoint. So this is really interesting for me with Manuel Locatelli. If we actually have a look at some of his details, here we go. So again, this is looking at the 23-24 season. 26 years of age, Italian international. Again, just some experience, some leadership. I don't think he had his greatest season last season, but in seasons gone by, I've been really, really impressed with him. You can see here his strengths along balls positioning, his weaknesses. It says no outstanding weaknesses. Now, again, we've got to be cautious with that because, I mean, who wrote this? Who decided that? But for me, I like him as a footballer. And you can see here, if you can see here, his in this little metric here, you can see his defensive side of the game, his tackling side of the game is a lot stronger than someone like a Yao Gomez. And if we actually look at his heat map here, have a look at this. This is the thing which I like. Look where the majority of his heat map is. It is sitting where a number 6 sits. It is all across here in front of the back four. And that is the thing for me that I really like about Manuel Locatelli. I think he's got a good pass on him. I think he's intelligent. Is he going to be a player that runs around like a headless chicken? No. But you need players that are there, that are cool, that are calm, that are collected. And for me, I think he's head and shoulders above anything we've got in our midfield. If you haven't guessed by now, I don't actually think our midfield is that great. Again, I'm not going to look at attacking stats. I really don't feel that that's that important. But again, he played 36 games, so he only missed 2 league games. Minutes per game, 84 minutes. So, you know, really good numbers there. Then when we go down to his passing, he got more assists from more of a deep line position, more expected assists, more touches than a Yao Gomez. Again, and then you can make what you will of the accurate passes per game. But again, accurate in his own half is up on Gomez. Accurate in the opposition half is up. Accurate long balls is up. Interceptions per game is just under 1. So just under 1, the same as Gomez. Tackles per game, 1.9. Possession 1, 0.4. Balls. So make what you will of those types of stats. For me, I like him. I think this is less yellow cards as well. So again, nearly half the number of yellow cards that a Yao Gomez got. Again, I like both of them as footballers. But what I love about Locatelli is I think it's absolutely everything that Tottenham Hotspur don't have. And what I mean by that is we keep talking about everyone needs to have this brilliant engine to get around and tackle. I think we are missing that cool, calm, collected footballer. I truly do. I like Bentancur at times when he does that. Again, for me, injuries, inconsistency, good footballer. Not saying he's not a good footballer, but again, the difference between being here and being there is consistency. I just really like even a 2 in midfield of a Locatelli with Bentancur. Then you can have Maddison as your playmaker. So for me, I really like the look of that signing. I don't know if we're interested. Lots of people have been talking about it. But when people say, oh, there's no one in the world that you could buy. I mean, Juventus need to sell. They're bringing in players. They're bringing in Coop miners at the moment. For me, this would be a wonderful signing. I listen, if you bought in him and Gomez, I think that would be a wonderful midfield partnership. And again, this is why when people all go, oh, you don't like the youth, you don't rate the youth. It's not that I don't like them. It's not that I don't rate them. I just think they should be for further down the line. And for me, instead of buying lots and lots of young players, I would have really concentrated on that midfield area. I really would have. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. When you look at the teams above us, all right, look at the teams above us and look at their midfield engines. Look at their midfield presence. Let's start with Aston Villa, who finished 4th last year. Aston Villa have got Onana. Now, whether you rate Onana or not, I think he's a really good player. He was my man of the match the other day for Aston Villa v West Ham. He's a big, towering presence in front of that back four. He's good in both penalty areas. He likes to tackle. He's calm on the ball. Now, is he still learning and growing? Sure. But you put him alongside McGinn and Kamara. They're all experienced footballers. Men. They are men. They're experienced footballers. And it gives that bit of assurance to the back four. We then look at Liverpool. Liverpool have got, in there, they've got Endo, who's really experienced, had a really good second half of the season. Endo, experienced, calm in front of that back four. McAllister, who's a World Cup winner, sitting in that midfield in front of the back four. I'm not saying he's a number 6. I'm just saying he sits in there. Gravenberch, who is now getting more and more experience as the years go by. I'm sure I've missed someone out from Liverpool, but you're starting to see that there's experience there. You then look at Arsenal, Jorginho, Partey, Rice. They're bringing in Mikel Merino. They're all bringing in experience in that midfield area. And then Man City have got the best player in the world, in my opinion, Rodri. Then you look at Kovacic, who I thought was sublime yesterday, a top player. You've got then they've got the younger one coming into that, Enrico Lewis, from that right back position going in there. But in front of him, he's got Kovacic, he's got Rodri. And I think that engine room of any football club, forget Tottenham, that engine room of any football club is so important. It's why Newcastle struggled last year. They had Guimaraes, but everyone alongside him was a youngster. His name's gone right out of my mind at the moment. The Lewis something, maybe central midfield. I might be making it up. 17-year-old that started playing. You know, they had youngsters. Miley. Sorry, it was Miley, wasn't it? They had youngsters playing in there. But now they've got Tonali back after the next game. Again, it starts to look a bit more senior. It starts to look a little bit more composed. And that, for me, is where I think Spurs miss out compared to our competitors. That's just my opinion. Now, the reason I say that is I'm going to show you this. And this is what worried me. I saw this. Dan Kilpatrick, big up. No, nothing against Dan Kilpatrick. And this was via Lily White Rose, so big up to the Lily White Rose. So Tottenham Hotspur, a new number 6 is not thought to be a priority before the end of the month, in part due to the encouraging performances of summer signings Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, both 18 in pre-season. Now, when we break this down, look, I'm going to be brutally honest here. When we do break this down, I worry about this because first and foremost, Lucas Bergvall is not a number 6. For me, I think he's much more than that. I think he's a midfielder. He wants to get on the ball. He wants to drive forward with it. He wants to go and be creative. Really good touch, Lucas Bergvall. Sorry, let me get rid of that. Really good touch, composed on the ball. Yeah, he's going to give it away. He's 18. But for me, that's not your number 6. That's not your number 6. And Archie Gray, let's be brutally honest about this. I know people want to think he's brilliant. Archie Gray's best performances in pre-season were when he was actually playing at centre-back. The games where he actually went into midfield, he looked the weakest. Bayern Munich, the K-League All-Stars. So for me, if we're going to say we don't want that position, and half the reason, I don't know, it says in part, half the reason is because of the youngsters, that's fine. But again, I'll just point out what I just talked about, that all the clubs above us, they're not doing that. All the clubs above us have got quality in there, ready-made senior pros. Again, look at Villa. It doesn't matter what you think. Look at John McGinn. Every game, you know everything you're getting from John McGinn. Whether you think he's great or not, every game he is consistent. Every game is tackling. Every game is passing. Every game he's involved in. Onana is the same. Then, as we said, the teams above. That's just where I feel Spurs are slightly lacking. And by slightly, I mean a lot. So, look, I'm not saying Bergvall and Gray can't become great players. But for me, I think we've just gone a little bit too far. I don't understand why we didn't buy one of them, i.e. we had Bergvall coming in and then signed a top midfielder to go next to him. That, for me, would have been much more exciting, would have shown much more ambition. But listen, the club's gone down the route they have. And let's be fair, the manager lives and dies by these decisions, right? And I don't mean, you know what I mean. His job is determined by these decisions. If Spurs keep getting overrun in midfield, if we keep not protecting that back four, then no one can point the finger at Levy on this one. Everyone knows what I think of Levy. No one can point the finger at Levy. They'll have to point it at the manager's tactics. If we shore that up and we're not conceding goals and we are protecting the back four, I have to go, I was wrong. Well done, Ange. You've changed it. Brilliant. And that's what it is. That's all football opinions are, right, at the end of the day. It gets a bit heated, but at the end of the day, my opinion, if I'm wrong, put my hand up and go, I'm wrong. If other people are wrong, put your hand up and say I'm wrong. So, look, that's the piece for me on central midfielders. Now, I wanted to move to tonight's game. Let me know what you think. Locatelli, Gomez, any chance? Matt O'Reilly still hasn't moved. But apparently, we were offered a chance and didn't want him, which I think is a bit crazy. But let me know what your thoughts are. And now, I wanted to just quickly pick the team for tonight. And look, I am excited that the season started. As I said, I would have been a lot more excited. Had Tottenham actually bought some more players for the now rather than the future. But it is what it is. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, lots of people have talked about, really tough decisions for Spurs. He's got loads of options. I feel the complete opposite. I don't think this is a tough decision at all. Let me know what you think. For me, I think it looks something like this. In goal, it is Vicario, right? Porro has got no competition against him. I don't care what people say about Jed Spence. Pedro Porro is the guy that's going to play in there. Let's just find Pedro Porro. There we go. Right centre-half is Romero, who for me should probably be captain, if I'm going to be brutally honest. Listen, whilst I don't get as carried away as some other people do about Romero, I do think that he's a leader. I think that he's one of the only ones who's a real man in there that wants to get stuck in, will make the players around him accountable. And then on the left-hand side, I think we know what's going on there. On the left-hand side, it is Mickey van der Ven. I don't think there's anyone that comes close to those two from a centre-half perspective. If I can find Mickey van der Ven, excuse me, I probably missed him. There he is, Mickey van der Ven. And at left-back, again, the only question mark is if he's fit. But if he's fit tonight, and you would think he came on, he played the second half against Bayern Munich. That was 9 days ago. You would expect now that he's fit enough to play. Now, use this loosely, this free in midfield, use it loosely. I mean, it doesn't have to be with a 1 there and a 2 in front. It could be a flat 3, whatever you want to say. Okay, so let's not be pernickety and pedantic about that. But for me, I think this all picks itself. I think if we look here, this has to be Rodrigo Bentancur. I don't see that there's any other player there. Here, I don't see that there's any doubt it will be Papa Sarr tonight. We'll talk about this in a minute. And on the left, and then the more forward of the 3 will be James Maddison. Left wing, we know is going to be Son. He's the captain. He's going to play. He's still one of our best players. He's going to play. This has to be Solanke. Let's see if they've added him to the roster. He wasn't there a few weeks ago, but I'm pretty sure I saw him earlier. There's Dominic Solanke. And for me, this is the only position on the pitch that I've not filled in yet where I feel there's any question mark. Now, you could say that Kulu will go in and play instead of Maddison in that midfield area. I don't think he will, but again, that possibly. For me, I think the only question mark that Ange Postecoglou has got is, does he go with Dejan or does he go with Brennan Johnson? For me, that is the only dilemma I see for Ange Postecoglou. Now, I don't rate Brennan Johnson at all. I would have Kulu. Do I think he's an out-and-out winger? No. Do I think he's a much better footballer than Brennan Johnson? Yes, I do. So for me, all of that hopefully will match up to this. There you go. Vicario in goal. Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and a doggy. Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison, Son, Solanke, Kulu. Now, for me, I think it's good that we've got an 11. I think that will be it, if I'm brutally honest. The question mark then comes when Basuma is not suspended. Does he come in for anyone? The question mark for me will be when you look at these entire signings here, and I've shown this picture many times, that 11 there only incorporates one of those 6 signings. And that, for me, is why when people are going, what, you don't think we'll finish 4th? You think so-and-so will finish above us? That's why. Because I just don't think we've done enough to the 11. Now, granted, there are still, 11 days to go at a window. But as it stands, I think we've got a very easy team to pick. I think there's very little dilemma for Ange Postecoglou. Let me know what you think, by the way. Other people might completely disagree. And I guess the question is can Bergvall or Gray dislodge Bentancur or Sarr? will he start with one of the two kids over Sarr or Bentancur? I don't think so. I don't think that that's Ange's style. From what I've seen, he seems very reluctant to do that. We'll see. I wouldn't mind seeing Bergvall start instead of Sarr. I really wouldn't. I don't want to see Gray start, if I'm honest. I don't think from what I've seen in pre-season that he's good enough. I don't think he's ready. I don't think I've seen enough that tells me he's better than those above him. But Bergvall, I look at and I think, I'd put you in over Sarr. I don't think he will, but I would. That's only me. So tonight, what I would do is I would do this. If we go back to this, if we go back to this screen, this is what I would do tonight. This is the team I think he will pick. This is what I would do. I would do this. Let's see if I can change this. Let's see if we can find him. I would do that with Bergvall. Now, for me, I think that this gives me a little bit more excitement. Okay, Solanke's new. Bergvall's new. For me, that gives me a little bit more excitement as a fan going into the games. I don't think he will. But let me know. What do you think? Can we see a shock? Will Gray play? Will Bergvall play? What's the right side going to be? Is it going to be Kulu? Is it going to be Brennan? Is Kulu going to go in the middle? But look, guys, a lot of food for thought there. Really, really looking forward to Spurs playing tonight. The Premier League is back. We didn't see any shocks over the weekend. If you look at the Premier League table, Liverpool won, Arsenal won, Villa won, Man U won, City won. So far, no shocks in the Premier League. I can't see there'll be one tonight. I really can't. I genuinely think it'll be 3 or 4-0 tonight. Maybe we'll concede a goal because that's what we do. But Leicester City, we shouldn't be conceding. They don't have a lot in their forward line. Players injured. Players have left. We'll see. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Predict your score for tonight. I will be live at 6:30 for all the match build-up. 6:30, kick off at 8. And then at 10 p.m, we'll be starting a new show where it allows fans to phone in after or call in after the game to have their say. Were you happy? What did you think of the lineup? Was the score what you thought? What were you disappointed with? What were you want to praise Ange with? All of these different things. So guys, girls, thank you very much. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And as always, come on, you Spurs.